I get to Vach Rabbi, so we're holding in the middle of the Sugya Basa V'chalav. We're going to be starting Be'ez Hashem today. This is the crunch. This is the real Basa V'chalav Shailas. Shailas that are Nageya all the time. Shailas that are very important to understand. We're obviously our goal over here is to get to the Inyanim of Shavuos, which of course we're going to discuss in detail of waiting 6 hours, waiting 3 hours, waiting milk, cheese, meat in different directions, all the things that need to be done. So of course that's the direction that we're going. But to understand that, we have to understand a little bit of the halachas of Basa V'chalav, how they apply. So last time, was it Thursday? I don't remember where we were holding already. Whenever we gave share last, I think it was Thursday, right? We went to right? It was Thursday, right? We did a Hakdama of Basa V'chalav. Why is it Asa? How is it Asa? And various, applications of the three Isurim of Bishul, Achila, and of course Hana that we had previously discussed. And we now want to continue, Mati. We're discussing the actual shaylas that are in a game in the kitchen. What I'm going to give you today, Be'ez Hashem, is very much some of the guidelines of what to know, how to ask, what is a shayla, and especially some of the words that come out. You'll ask a rabbi a shayla, he'll ask you something, you'll be like, I know what that means, took in English. So we're going to give you some of the basic ideas of how to understand what's going on, okay? The first and foremost, the most important shayla we have in Basa V'chalav in Yeridea is something called Tam Ke'ika. Okay, it's a machlokes Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam. If Tam is Ke'ika, one of the first shaylas I received in my smicha test was this shayla. Tam Ke'ika, is it a Doraisa or a Durabonon? It's a machlokes Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam. What does Tam Ke'ika mean? Anybody know?
Taste.
That's Tam.
Taste is like the main.
Oh, thank you, Ben. Thank you, Shimon. Valdik. Taste is like the main. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means in a very simple manner like this. When you take a fleischiger pot, a pot that was used for real meat, right? Basa behema, actual meat, and you cook it in there, the taste of the meat goes and imparts itself into the walls of the pot. Now, if you go along and you cook milk in that same pot, we'll just make it easy, within 24 hours. So the halacha is Tam Ke'ika Doraisa. That's how we paskin. We paskin lahachme Tam Ke'ika Doraisa, which means that in that milk is a Basa V'chalav Doraisa. But what do you mean? It was totally clean, Moti. I cleaned up the pan 1,000% from any of the meat that would have been in there. Okay? Because Tam Ke'ika means the taste has imparted itself in the walls. When it then comes out into the milk that I subsequently cook in there, that is considered to be Tam Ke'ika Moti. You with me? Tam Ke'ika Doraisa. So that's going to be an Issa Doraisa. That means that milk will be Asa Bahana. No benefit whatsoever. Why? Because it was cooked in a pan that was previously used recently for meat. Tam Ke'ika Doraisa. That's how we paskin. Okay? That is the din of that. Number one. Number two. What is the difference between... You have a question? Yeah.
What happens if it's not recently?
Beautiful. Frek Matia Kasha. What happens if it wasn't used recently? Great. The answer is that's enough. I mean, if we call it a ben yoimai or an ein ben yoimai. Okay, let me explain. You're going to go to the rabbi, say, Rabbi, I don't know what to do. I by mistake made a cheese omelette in a fleischiger frying pan. Last night I cooked steaks in there, or whatever it was, right? Forget about chicken, let's leave out chicken for a moment, let's make it simple. Talk about steak, we'll talk about meat, because then we'll make it the shayla v'daraisa, right? Now, he's going to ask you kasha. Is it a ben yoimai? Huh? What does that mean? English, sir, exactly. What's the answer? The answer is ben yoimai means if it was used in the last 24 hours, ben yoimai, right, the son of the day, it was used in the last 24 hours, hurry up. Or if it's an eina ben yoimai, means it was not used in the last 24 hours. My nafkamina, says the Gemara, that once you have a pan that was the taste inside was used 24 hours ago, it goes stale. Right? It goes stale. The taste is no longer, as they say in English, potent. You don't know what that means, right? That's not, no, it's not. That's a regular normal word. Zev. No? I don't know. When I wrote the book, the Kashrus book, so one of my big editors, a very choshev for Posek, he said to me we should call the chapter on what talks about onions, garlics, which we'll get to in a minute, hopefully. He says to me we should call it pungent foods. So nobody's going to know what that means. Everybody knows what a pungent... Please can I have a pungent food? Right? It's like, what does that mean? It's not British! Hi, Gewalt. Yeah.
So you could eat the food, right?
Oh, Frey Livy, what's the din of the food? Very good. Let's explain. He's right here. Let's explain. The nafkamina between a ben yomer and an ben yomer is that the food will be mutter, like Levi said. What does that mean? That means if I cook milk in a pan that was used 24 and a half hours ago for steak, the milk is mutter. Now the pan is going to be asa, right? Because you've got blias of both meat and milk in it, so the walls of the pan are for short treif, you have to kasher it. How to kasher it? I don't know. You look up Yeridea, Sebukuf Chav Aleph, Hilchas Pesach Tof Nun Aleph, you see the sugya over there. Al Koponim, Machala, right? The pan is asa. You're allowed to drink the milk if the pan was used over 24 hours ago. It's called an Eina Ben Yoimai, okay? Same din. If you take a ladle and you want to go and take some chicken soup, right? Let's just say make it easy. Chicken soup, even though chicken soup would not be a problem of hana because it's a durabanan, but al kapanim, of course, it will still have the same din of treif. And I take a ladle to take some of the chicken soup, and I use a milchige ladle. So use a milchige ladle, I have a problem now. How am I going to eat my chicken soup? So there are two things you could do. Number one, if the ladle was not used in the last 24 hours for hot milk, then therefore it's an Eina Ben Yomer. Eina Ben Yomer doesn't impart its taste into what it goes to because the taste inside there is stale, which means that the milk, the chicken soup, will be 100% mutter to have. The ladle will be treif, right? The pot will also be fine. If the chicken soup's fine, the pot's also fine. The ladle's not. What's the other heter you could use the soup? Let's say it was a Ben Yomer. Let's say the ladle was a ben yomer. Last night I made a cream and mushroom soup with real cream. Now I dip it into the chicken soup within 24 hours. What's that? Bottle b'shishim, Asha, Gavaldik, all the way, Montreal, Bottle b'shishim, right? It's bottle b'shishim means that it's nullified in 60. Asha, get candy. Okay? Nice catch. Nullified in 60, okay? That's the other heta. So you got two heteim. You got bottle b'shishim. If it's nullified in 60, there's 60 times more than the ladle, right? In other words, there was a lot of chicken soup, and therefore there's 60 times more chicken soup than the part of the ladle of the spoon that went inside. Then even if it's a ben yomer, it will be mutter. But if it's an eina ben yomer, you don't have to come onto that. The ladle will be treif, you don't have to kasher it, but the soup and of course the pan will be mutter. So that is the din of tam ke'ika. Oh, is everybody with me? Very important case. What about if you have a suffix ben yomer or eina ben yomer? For example, what happens, one second, good. What happens if machara, you dip in the ladle, a milchige ladle, into the chicken soup? Oy vay, it's a milchige ladle, what do I do now? 1 second. When was the last time I used this ladle? Oh, yeah, was it more than 24 hours or less than 24 hours? Sofik ben yomer, eina ben yomer. Yidla, what's the psak? So Ben says what? So here we're makel. Because it's a machlokes rishonim, whatever. Sofik ben yomer is automatically, says the Taz and Simon Sadi Hey, an eina ben yomer. So whenever you have a suffix, what do I do in this case? Was it used 24 hours or not 24 hours? The halacha is, it's got din of an eina ben yomer if you have a suffix, which means you can always be makel. Now, of course, if you know it was used in 24 hours, there's nothing to talk about. Okay? Is that clear? Tam ke'ika? Very simple. Zachar, are you ready for the next stage? We're moving in stages over here. Nat barnat.
English. Is that English or what?
Very good. Nat barnat. What does it stand for?
Not Barnat.
Not barnat. Rabbi say ni. Rabbi say basics. Your wife's going to ask you this on the second date to see what type of guy you are. No, come on, guys. I'm helping you out. Not yet.
That's why we're here. I'll call Rabbi.
Oh, Ben, that's why we're here. Beautiful. Where's everybody? Anyway, so not barnat. What does not barnat stand for? Noising tam, bar noising tam. English, secondary taste.
Now I know.
You said that?
I said it.
No.
Noising tam, bar noising tam. That means secondary taste. What does that mean? Rabbi said this is one of the most nageish shilas that everyone that cooks knows. Okay, this is a very simple shaila. You make noodles, pasta, rice, potatoes, whatever it is, something parav, in for example, a fleischiger pan. Right? This was used for chicken soup. This was used for meat. Right? This is my fleischiger pan. Can I use those noodles with cheese? No. Again, the pan was 100% clean, 1000% clean. I made some noodles. I made some lakshan. I made pasta. Whatever it is. Right? I've got it in the fridge in a plastic container. Right? Am I allowed to take it and mix it with cheese? Very nogea shaila. You have leftover noodles from yesterday. They didn't touch the meat. Didn't go anywhere near the meat. Didn't see the meat. Isur. Why? It's not barnat. Says Ben, that's not barnat. What's not barnat? Nice. Not Baranat. You quarterback? Not Baranat, Rabbi Sai, means that there's a secondary taste. What's the secondary taste? Let's think. The meat went into the pan. So the pan has tam ke'ika, right? That's the first taste. But then when I make the noodles, the pasta, the rice, whatever, that's going out into the pan, from the pan into the noodles, that's already secondary taste. So Tosfos and Chulin Daf Kuf Yud Aleph, that's considered to be what? That's a weaker tam, so Tosfos. It's much weaker. It's not got the same koyach as the original taste. If that's the case, that's not barnat. What's the din with that barnat? Rabbi said, let me tell you very, very simply. Remember this because it gets a little bit confusing. I don't even know if we should get into the Sfardi halachas right now because that's even more confusing sometimes. It's more makel as well. But we'll get to maybe we'll mention it. Okay? The halacha is like this. For all those people that said it's asa, you guys should learn halacha because you can be a lot more makel. Okay? It goes like this. If you have, let's just take rice that was cooked in a fleischig pan. It makes a nafkamina if the pan that was cooked in was a ben yoimoy or an eina ben yoimoy. Let's make it very clear. Okay? There are books that tell all this very, very clearly. I think one of Kashrus in the kitchen, you could look it up over there. Very simple. All Jewish homes should own at least 3 of them in different rooms just to make sure. So it's enough gamina if it's a ben yoimoy and an eina ben yoimoy. Tuli. If it's a ben yoimoy, that means I made the rice in a ben yoimoy fleischige pan, then I'm not allowed to go along and mix it with cheese. But if I did already, then it's okay, and I'm allowed to eat it. If the pan was an eina ben yoimoy, which means I made the rice in an eina ben yoimoy fleischig pan, I'm allowed to mix it with cheese. I'm allowed to take the rice and mix it with cheese. Zuk the shach, not al dasking. What does that mean? Don't make the rice or the pasta in an eina ben yoimoy fleischig pan if you know that you're going to eat it with cheese. But if once you already made it and it's in the fridge, even though it's a ben yoimoy, you're allowed to mix it with cheese like hatchela. Chacham Ovadia argues on the shach. I'm not going to go into the sugya. Okay? Svarim a little bit more makel. But just to make it very simple and very clear. Okay, Rabbi say, is this clear? It's got to be clear because I know there's going to be like, oh no, what did he say? Ben yoimoy, anybody. If you made something pariv in a fleischig pan, or milchig, the other way around, whatever it is, right? Stam kneve is a fleischig, right? Who has a, say milchig. Anyway, Shavuos, only because of Shavuos we have to mention milchig, just to be yaitza. Zev can't wait. Chanukah, Yaakov, you're absolutely right. Chanukah and milchigs, that's what it is. Shavuos is Yontiv, yeah, fleishigs. Okay, we'll talk about it. So, Lamaisa, if you make something parav in a fleishiger pan, okay, if it's a ben yoimoy, you cannot mix it with cheese. If you did already, you put the cheese on, you can eat it. If it's an eina ben yoimoy, you're allowed to mix it with cheese, but don't do it al daske, meaning don't cook the parav thing in a fleischig eina ben yoimoy pan if you know that you're going to have it together with the opposite min. Okay? That is the halacha over there. Rabbi said, let's move on. Okay? Next stage. Let's bring it up a level now. Okay? What, level by level, we're going to get to some of the major shilas. Tomorrow we're going to talk about ovens and steams and all sorts of interesting shilas. What we're discussing right now is a very interesting shilah. Ankan, so far until now, we've talked about tam ke'ika, we've talked about nat bar nat, secondary taste. There is a major exception. I think that this is one of the only reasons that I wrote the Kashrus book was for the halacha that we're about to say, which I partially just saw that the olim just weren't so makbidin, and they didn't know, and if they knew they would keep it, so therefore I wanted to be, publicizing as much as possible. And that is the shaila of a dova chorif, a pungent food in English, or maybe simply a sharp food. Okay? What is the din of a pungent food? What is the din of something sharp? For argument's sake, without getting involved in a machlokes, we'll talk about an onion. What is the din of an onion? Okay? So there's a major chiddush by dova chorif that doesn't apply to almost anything else. Okay? Which is a huge chiddush. It's going to take everything that we said until now and say it's not negeya. What is that mochala? Number one. Normally, in order to extract heat, to extract taste, you need heat. Heat takes out the taste. To put something somewhere is not going to. For example, if I put some milk in a fleischiger pan for 20 minutes, nothing's going to happen. True, I put it there for 24 hours. That's called kovish, kamavush, the Gemara tells us in Chulin, and avada that's considered to be like it was like there with heat. But if I put something inside for a small amount of time, under 24 hours, without heat, nothing happens. The chiddush of a dova choriv says the Gemara in Chulin. is it does three things. It does three things. What are these three things? Number one, it extracts taste out without heat. That means what the Gemara calls duchka de sakina. What does that mean? Yeah, very good. Duchka de sakina. Somebody? You're sitting up. No, normally when you're over there, you seem to get the answers. Okay. What was it? What?
Pressing with the knife.
Pressing with a knife. Asha, beautiful. Pressure of the knife. I should give the candy to Rabbi Rothstein, no? And Michael? Ducha de sakina means that the pressure of the knife will extract the taste of the knife without heat. That's chiddush number one. Chiddush number two, that even though normally the taste of the knife that comes out somewhere will be what we call nat barnat, it's secondary taste, and therefore, like Tosfos told us in Chonin Kuf Yud Aleph, it's much weaker when it comes to a davar chorif. It's the tam ke'ika. It goes back to the original tam. It goes up, it upgrades a level, and therefore it's got a din of real tam. That's number two. And number three, the biggest chiddush of all, that it will rejuvenate. Is that too long? Okay. It's rejuvenate. What does that mean? It rejuvenates.
Levels up. It's just goes back to itself.
Goes back to that. What does that mean? Normally we said until now, if something hasn't been used for 24 hours, it's an Eina Ben Yomo, and the taste in it is stale. When it comes to a davar chorif, we don't say that. And a davar chorif, a pungent food, will extract and rejuvenate the taste. So for example, if the last time you used that knife for steak was 26 years ago at the bas mitzvah, that was a huge mitzvah to go to instead of night seder. It was the biggest mitzvah, very important. I need to be there. If not, if I'm there, then who knows what's going to be. I need to be by the bas mitzvah. No, it's a mitzvah. It's partially a mitzvah, important. 26 years ago, you used that knife for steak. You cut an onion, the onion is fleischig. Right, that's the din. So Rabbi say, a davar chorif, number one, you don't need heat, you need the pressure of the knife. And by the way, a knife doesn't mean a knife. It means a fork, it means a blender, a grater, it means your teeth. We'll get to maybe Hilchas Pesach, whether or not when you bite on the morrow, on Seder night, it could be that you're extracting the tam of chometz and you're eating chometz on Leil HaSeder. Shem Yirachim. Okay? Okay? The only certain place in the world that you could What's that? It's a real thing. Huh? Oh, Zev kashes his teeth before that. Zev kashes his teeth before Pesach to make sure. Tofno Nalef, Orechaim, right? Dentures. Okay, so the Manchester Yeshiva, I spoke to the dentist of the Manchester Yeshiva, Zecher V'Tzadik Levacha, and he told me that his dentist that he had 3 pairs of false teeth, 3 pairs of dentures, 1 for milchik, 1 for fleischig, and 1 for Pesach. Meister Shoya spoke to his dentist. You need milchiks on Pesach. Anyway. Al Kapanim, Rabbi say we have to finish. So we've got 3 chidushim of davar chorif. Tomorrow we have to discuss 2 things. Number 1, how much of the onion, when you cut it with a fleischig knife, becomes fleischig? That's number 1. How much of the whole onion, a big onion, the whole thing is a piece of meat? What happens now? Number 2, do I have to wait 6 hours after eating an onion that I cut with a fleischig knife? Big enough gemina. Okay. Number 3, what if I cut an onion with a fleischig knife and then I put it into a blender? There are so many shaylas that we have to discuss too, and more, including ovens and gas stoves. Be'ez Hashem, join us tomorrow for more exciting halachas and Basa B'Chalav. Have a wonderful day.